Have you ever thought that why do some toppers score 140 plus marks in the essay while others get stuck below 100? Now, this is despite the fact that almost everyone who qualifies the civil service examination has the same range of marks in the GS papers. What really matters or what creates the real difference is the level of marks someone scores in the essay paper. Hello everyone, welcome to your own channel, the IAS Track. In the next 15 minutes, I promise you, I'll give you the short way to have edge in the essay paper. Now here is my mark sheet of 2018. So I have written mains 5 times. In all of my mains, I have consistently scored more than 125 marks in the essay. In 2018, I secured 141 marks and the marks of the AIR 1 in the essay paper were 133. Now, why do we say that essay is a game changer? Why it really matters the most? See, when we talk about the mains examination, starting from the essay paper and then 4 GS papers and then optional, what you'll have to understand is that essay has a very high weightage. It's equal to any of the GS paper or any of the optional paper. But the sad reality is that we do not give that much of importance to the essay paper. Now, I'll give you an example. Let's say a person has secured 800 marks in the main examination, in the written examination, and the other person has secured 830 marks. Now, the difference is only because of the essay. Now, this is something which can really make or break someone's attempt. This can change the game altogether. So that is the reason essay is something which should not be avoided. But again, as I said, the sad reality is that even those students who have been preparing very seriously, religiously, they tend to focus more upon the GS. They write the GS answers, but they seldom write the essay. And that is something which is not right. Now, when we talk about the other thing, what are the myths with respect to the essays? तो कई बार लोग बोलते हैं that essay is just the GS written in paragraphs. That is, whatever content you are preparing for the GS, you can directly use for the essays. देखिए ऐसा नहीं है, it's not like that. The second thing which people often say is that flowery language and quotations matter more than substance. Write like Shashi Tharoor. Grammar has to be focused. See, again, grammar is something which obviously you need to understand. You need to write in the proper format. But it's not just about the language and the quotations. Or there are other people who say that anecdotes are necessary. See, there is nothing which is necessary, right? What really matters in the essays is that we need to have a proper structure. We need to have some form of creativity. First, to understand this, let's have this question that why do we have the essay paper? बहुत ज़रूरी है समझना कि भाई already you are assessing the knowledge through the GS. Why you have kept a separate paper for the essay? That is what you will have to understand. See, when we talk about the GS papers or the optional or the essay, the criteria of assessment is different. Your knowledge is being assessed in the GS paper, in the essay paper, in the optional. But there are some other criteria also. For example, in the optional, it's more about the depth of the subject. कि आपको अपना subject कितना depth में आता है. Then when we talk about the GS, it's more about the range of information you have, the kind of dimensions you can provide, the examples, the data, the facts. When we talk about the essay, what you'll have to understand is that the criteria of assessment is something different. It's not that of what we have for the GS or for the optional. The criteria is that of your creativity, how well you can think. And I'll talk about that. What you'll have to understand is that in the essay, there are no boundaries. I'll give you an example. Let's say I give you an essay topic which says that you cannot step twice in the same river. ठीक है, abstract topic है, it's an abstract topic. This is one topic for the essay. Now, I give you another GS question and it says that the doctrine of the basic structure has helped to protect the soul of the constitution. Full stop, discuss. अब ये जो GS का question है, the question which we have for the GS, it's restricted to the doctrine of the basic structure. So in this particular question, I cannot write about tropical cyclone. That is what I'm trying to say. Every GS question has a definite boundary. जो पूछा गया है, आपको वो लिखना है. You'll have to justify the demand of the question. But when we talk about the essay, as I said, that you cannot step twice in the same river. Are there any boundaries? No, there are no boundaries. It's a test of your knowledge. It's a test of your creativity, right? So what all things matter in the essay paper? First is that how many perspectives you can bring, how many viewpoints you can bring. You just do the brainstorming and try to come up with different ideas. How much creative you are. ठीक है? for every topic, how well you can think in different dimensions. What are the domains in which you can think about a particular topic? How you can well connect the dots from the social aspect to that of the economic aspect to that of the political aspect. And ultimately, what I believe is that essay is a paper of ideas. आपको you need not to be frightened कि भाई ऐसे में मैं क्या लिखूंगा या लिखूंगी. What really matters is that how freely you express yourself. It's a paper of ideas. In the GS, there are restrictions, but in the essay, there are no restrictions. And believe me, in all of my attempts, whenever I wrote the essay, I kept one thing in mind, that there would not be any kind of restriction. Now, how to start essay preparation then? देखो, पहली बात तो ये कि when we talk about the essay, it's not just about writing. It's not like कि आज someone told you to write the essay and you start writing. It's about writing in a way that UPSC rewards. ठीक है? Let's say I give the same topic, you cannot step twice in the same river, to a class 12th student. Or I give this topic to a graduate, right? Everyone can write an essay on this particular aspect. But what you'll have to understand is that there is a particular way in which we have to write the essay, in which the UPSC rewards, right? So, pehli baat kya hai? What should be the very first step? The first step should be that you try to start with the GS answers. Okay? Now you would say, sir, why? You said Kiwi, in the starting you said that most of the aspirants focus upon the GS and not the essay. I'll tell you why. Because once you start practicing the GS answers, you develop the habit of writing. Okay? आपका command बनेगा. You'll develop the command over the content. With time, you'll have more enrichment in your answers. And that is going to basically give you a boost with respect to the essay. Now, the second step, along with the first step, should be, आप GS के answers लिख रहे हैं, you are continuously writing the GS answers. Along with it, what you do is, please read and understand and go through the toppers essay. I'll tell you what to do. 2023 and 24 के जो rankers हैं, I'm not using the word toppers, I'm saying rankers. Those people who have secured more than 125 marks in the essay. Please download 10 copies of those rankers from 2023 and 24. And in total, if you have 2 essays in every copy, you will have 20 essays. So GS के साथ साथ, along with the GS, what you have to do is, you will have to basically pick up these papers, the answers, the essay answers, read the topic, do a kind of a brainstorming for 2 to 3 minutes कि अगर मैं ये ऐसा लिखता या लिखती, तो what all points I would have written in this particular thing. Create a format and then go through diligently the topper's answer, topper's essay. See how that person has basically expressed his or her own ideas. ठीक है, as I said, essay is all about the ideas. Why this matters is because if you will do this, you will have a base. You will understand कि भाई कैसे perspectives को लेके आते हैं. How to basically come with different dimensions, different domains. So this really matters the most. Once you have already done that, the third step is that from November, start practicing. This really matters a lot. सिर्फ पढ़ने से काम नहीं चलेगा. What really matters is that you start practicing. Now, how to basically do that? See, on the channel, what we are trying to do is, we are basically right now focusing upon the GS answer writing with respect to the current affairs. With the time, I will also bring some initiatives with respect to the essays on the IAS Track channel. So you can keep a track of it. Please do join the channel, and then we'll have more of things coming for the essays. From November onwards, start practicing. But for now, download 10 copies of those toppers who have secured more than 125. In total, you'll have 20 essays for the next 1 month. Just go through them. Seek inspiration. ठीक है? Imitate नहीं करना है. You don't have to copy what they have done. You just have to seek the inspiration. See how that person has tried to stretch the idea from one domain to the other. How that person has talked about the political aspect, the economic aspect, right? So that is what you'll have to understand. Now, whenever you are writing the essay, whenever you are starting, keep all these points in your mind. The very first is, read the topic multiple times. And I'll give you the reason. There are times when people read the topic once or twice, and then they start writing. होता क्या है, in many a times, what we have seen is that there is a kind of misinterpretation which is there. People drift from the main idea, the central theme. So बहुत ज़रूरी है कि starting में you at least read the topic 4 times, 5 times, understand it, right? Second thing is that there has to be dichotomy of ideas. Dichotomy of ideas का मतलब क्या है? If I am writing the essay, I need to have multiple viewpoints, often in opposing direction. If I'm talking about the rights, I should also talk about the duties. If I'm talking about the growth, the importance of growth, I should also talk about the inequality. If I'm talking about the positives of one aspect, I should also talk about the negatives. इससे होगा क्या, that there would be balance in your essay. There would be, you would tend to avoid a one-sided approach. That is not something which is going to fetch you marks. There has to be a balance, because as I told, it is all about the perspectives. Next is the structure. What should be the structure? Whenever we talk about the essay, what you'll have to understand, see, it has a common structure in the form of introduction, body, and conclusion. But in the introduction, you can either start with a context, you can either start with a quotation, you can either start with an anecdote. It all depends upon you. कोई ऐसा fixed idea नहीं है. What all original idea comes in your mind with the kind of creativity when you will apply, once you'll go through the topper's answers, then you can very easily have that proper introduction. Next aspect is that of the body. Now this matters the most. In the body, try avoiding writing like the GS answers, okay, in points format or something like that. In the body, what really matters is that you basically try to give importance to different dimensions, different domains, be it the social, political, economic, environmental, ethical, right, aesthetic. तो अगर आप ये सारी चीजें एड्रेस करेंगे, and there has to be a proper flow. If you are jumping from social to political, there has to be a very smooth flow, right? Then we talk about the conclusion, how it has to be. See, conclusion, as an aspiring civil servant, what is really expected is that you have a very futuristic, a very forward-looking, a very visionary conclusion, right? That is really expected. Don't write a kind of a negative conclusion, right? Next thing, ये बहुत ज़रूरी है. ये मैंने खुद personally किया था, and I think I had advantage because of this. Many times people just use the logic, like what people do in the Hindu editorial, right? The authors of the Hindu editorial talking all about the logics. What also matters is the emotions. Have a tadka of emotions. That is going to really fetch you marks. Talk about the humane aspects. That is really something which you should focus upon. Now, how you can practice after that is pick up the PYQs, use the PYQs, and definitely start writing. That is really going to help you a lot. Final advice which I would like to give you is, देखो भाई, essay is something, as I've already told, it's a game of perspectives. जितने ज़्यादा perspectives आपके होंगे, the more you will be rewarded, right? And you'll have to justify whatever you are writing. अगर आप single perspective लिख रहे हो, social का या economic का या political का, you'll have to justify. And also talk about the opposing dimensions. There should not be any kind of repetition. What I have personally seen in many of the essay copies is that people start with a particular domain, let's say the environmental domain, then they talk about the social, political, and then they again come to the environmental domain. Don't do that. There should not be repetition. The flow of the answer of the essay has to be like a river. You must have seen how a river flows. It flows incessantly, like without any restrictions, whatever it feels like, right? So that is the way in which your answer, your essay should be. Again, do not bombard the GS content. कि भाई GS में इतना ज़्यादा पढ़ लिया है, data facts, that I'm just writing all those things. There is a distinction. Essay is not GS. It is different. The kind of criteria which is being assessed in the essay is very much different from that of the GS. So please do not copy paste your GS content over there. Ultimately, it's all about essay is not about knowledge. It's about maturity of thought, how well you can think. Again, as I said, the basic thing which you'll have to do as a base is writing the GS answers. For that, we have already started the 7 p.m. mains drill, where we are having current affairs oriented GS answer writing, where I take up the Hindu editorial, a very important one, give the content, the static and the dynamic content, and give you a question, and then we go for a comprehensive evaluation. You can just join the channel, and then you'll get a lot of benefits. This is a kind of comprehensive evaluation we are having. I can guarantee, I can bet, nobody is doing like this in the industry. It's something which is very comprehensive. You can also take a screenshot and look at this. Finally, as I said, as I've already told this earlier times, that you can crack prelims without answer writing, but you cannot crack UPSC without mastering the mains answer writing. And one of the very core component of mains answer writing is the GS along with the essay. The next 4 months are very important. Please start practicing, and the way in which I have told you, right now focus upon the GS along with reading the topper's essay. Then from November, you can start, and I'm also thinking to come up with a particular initiative on the channel itself, the IAS Track. So what is really needed is join the channel and then start having the habit of writing and have some form of commitment, because exam आपको निकालना है, and this is something which is really important, and for this you'll have to put up efforts. My best wishes to all of you. Bye bye.